Welcome everyone to the webinar Maritime Industry 4.0, the human element perspective from global maritime training institutions. I'm Elisenda Ventura, the marketing manager at Navozyme. For those of you who do not know us, at Navozyme we develop cutting-edge technology solutions for key maritime certification processes related to ship registry, port clearance, marine pollution, and seafarers training certifications. Our solutions benefit diverse maritime organizations like shipping companies, maritime and port authorities, MARPOL operators, crewing agencies, or training institutions. For today's webinar, we have the privilege to have with us the Maritime Training Institutions leaders, Vice Admiral Santos, President of the Maritime Academy of Asia and the Pacific, and Captain Agustí Mallofré, Dean of the Barcelona School of Nautical Studies, and the IMO's Goodwill Maritime Ambassador from Spain. Our speakers will share their knowledge and thoughts with the audience in a conversation with Anjaney Borwankar, Navozyme's co-founder and chief executive. I, for one, look forward to exploring how maritime training institutions need to adapt to the changing landscape in order to offer the best training to the future maritime professionals. Just a little housekeeping before welcoming our speakers. You can ask your questions to the speakers through the question box down in your menu. We will address them during the Q&A session. Now, without further delay, I would like to welcome Anjaney Borwankar, Vice Admiral Santos, and Captain Agustí Mallofré.
Thanks, Elisenda. Can you hear me okay?
Yes, I can hear you okay. The floor is yours, Anjan.
Thank you so much. So, great. We can see Vice Admiral Santos as well here. Welcome. And just waiting for Captain Agustí to switch on his video as well. Captain Agustí, if you can hear us, you can switch on your video, please. Yes, fantastic. Excellent. Okay, so let me just welcome everyone. So thanks, Elisenda, for the introduction and making all the arrangements. Today we have a full house. It's a virtual house, but it's full. Yeah, and I'm also honored and privileged, really, to have, I call them the elders of the industry, Vice Admiral Santos, Captain Agustí Mallofré. They actually need no introduction. However, those who may not be very familiar with them, what I could say is listen carefully to their words, because they'll have a lot of wisdom to share with all of you. So it's not knowledge and information and data, it's really wisdom, which is coming from years or rather decades of experience. So the topic today is close to everyone's hearts, all the three of us for sure, but also the audience here, because it's about the future of the maritime industry, the industry where we've given our lives to, or those of you who are thinking of future careers. And the topic is apt and timely because a lot of change is happening in our world today. The word VUCA, volatile, uncertain, complex, ambiguous, has become very common in our vocabulary. But I'd like to add the letter D to the word VUCA. So I'd call it a VUCA'd world, because the D stands for digitalization. So the very fact that we are having this forum in Zoom rather than in a nice hotel where we can meet all of you shows how the world has changed. Of course, it has its pros and cons. Pros are, makes things sometimes very easy. Cons is maybe we are losing the human touch, the human relationship, which perhaps is more significant, right? So rather than me going on, what I'd like to do is just explain the format to the audience and then invite the two speakers to begin with their opening remarks. So the speakers will, so Vice Admiral Santos from the East will go first, followed by Captain Agustí Mallofré. And they'll give their opening remarks on this topic of how the change is affecting institutions, their thoughts about the future of education for the maritime industry. And after the two opening remarks, which will be around 10 minutes each, we will get into a discussion on this topic. And as Elisenda has already mentioned to all of you, please keep the questions and comments coming in through the chat, and we'll be moderating that as we go along. Now, I'll introduce the speakers a little bit more when I call upon each one of them. So I'd like to first call upon Vice Admiral Santos, and my introduction for him is not reading out his CV, because if I do that, it'll take a long time. But the very fact that, you know, when I first met him many years ago, actually in the Philippines, I was surprised because I was not expecting that. I got his visiting card, and on his visiting card, he was explaining to me why he had a QR code at the back of his card. So that shows, you know, how someone, the president of MAAP, the Maritime Academy of Asia and Pacific, one of the most prestigious maritime training institutions, I would say, in the world, not just in the Philippines, but look at the humility and the foresight of the human to actually have a QR code. And you know, so that goes to say. So thank you, Vice Admiral Santos, for sharing your time, your experience. And the floor is yours for your opening remarks on this topic. So I will introduce Captain Agustí Mallofré, who's also a giant in the industry, when I call upon him next. So maybe the two of us, Captain Agustí and I, will switch off our videos and our microphones while this opening address is happening. So over to you, Vice Admiral Santos, the floor is yours.
Thank you. Thank you, Anjaney. I'd like to greet my friend, Captain Agustí, as well, from Barcelona. It is indeed a pleasure for me to be with you this afternoon, this morning. And I'd like to thank Navozyme for inviting me to speak. So I'll just make this short. I'll give a brief idea of what the Maritime Academy of Asia and the Pacific is at this time. You will see that on the cover slide that we are out in the mouth of Manila Bay. This is our Monday morning formation for our flag raising and the introductions to new members of the group. So my short presentation will consist of a background, the activities that we do in preparing for Maritime Industry 4.0, the opportunities, challenges, and some conclusions. I'll try to move fast here so that we can take it up in the question and answer period later on. So our mission, our vision is to be the leading institution of excellence in maritime education and training in the Asia-Pacific region and beyond. And on a day-to-day basis, we provide quality maritime education and training to students so that we can develop them to become competent graduates with the knowledge, the skills, and the attitudes necessary for the successful pursuit of a maritime career. So I'd like you to look at the keywords for our vision, Asia-Pacific region and beyond. For our mission, it's a maritime career. So we are a professional, we are classified as a professional service institution. So we're only focused on maritime. This is how, in order to accomplish our mission, we have 4 major programs. On the left is our training upgrading program, where we do IMO model courses, management level course, even the offshore. Next to that, we have a ratings to officers program for ratings who would like to be officers. And our core program is the cadet program, where we offer 4 bachelor's degree courses, MT for deck officers, MAAP for engineers, MAAP, a new one, is for electrotech officers. And we even have a dual course for marine transportation and engineering. And of course, we have graduate programs, 2 master's degrees, again focused on maritime transportation and maritime engineering. The school was established in January 1998, and we will be 24 years old by next month. It is owned, developed, and operated by a seafarers union. So at this time, we have 1,309 students. 32 of them are women. They're living in dormitories inside the compound. We have a rather big compound. It has 122 hectares with 57 buildings and 64 simulators of all types, but all of the same brand, Kongsberg. In our last 18 years, we have graduated 4,786 officers, including 150 women. And 86% of them are still working in the aboard ship or ashore in the maritime industry. Our school is certified to ISO 21001. This is the standard for maritime education and training. Our auditor is Det North Veritas GL. We also certified QMET, Quality Maritime Education and Training. Our auditor is PUBSUD, the Singapore Maritime Academy. We're also certified OPITO, the Offshore Petroleum Industry Training Organization, and of course the local certifying agencies. These are some of our equipment. We have two full mission bridges. One is a 240-degree full mission bridge linked to a full mission engine. We have another one. This is a 360 degrees full mission bridge simulator on a motion platform. It is also linked to a full mission engine simulator. This one is on touchscreen, widescreen, and it has capability for VR, virtual VR options. When we analyzed 3-4 years ago, when we analyzed the effects or what would be the impact of the digitalization and AI in our industry, especially with the coming up of new models, as you can see there on the chart, the Yara Birkeland, which they started, but I'm not sure if it's already running. And of course, the tugboat feature, which is operational. We started analyzing and we looked at the technical as well as the legal problems involved. And looking at it at this time, what we can see is that in the next probably 15 to 20 years, there will still be, we will still be at degree 1 or at level 1 as classified by IMO. That is, ships will have automated systems and decision support, but seafarers will still be there to operate and control. It will still take a while before these coastal operating ships operating in the coastal waters can go out to the ocean. Yeah, but anyway, we are preparing for this. And so what did we do? We started adding subjects to our courses. We are using the standard, we are using STCW, the IMO model course for OICs, officer in charge of a deck watch and an officer in charge of an engine watch. We are using that curriculum and that requirement, but we added robotics already so that the cadets will understand how robots work. We have upgraded our laboratories to advanced automation. We already have subjects on ICT and cybersecurity. And also, we have subjects on the logistics chain, just in case some of our officers or our graduates would like to go ashore and work in the industry. We have also adopted the blockchain technology. So in order to improve the security of our data, even for the cadets, they now are starting to have e-wallets so that they can just flash all their certificates instead of bringing the hard copy. And of course, we recently got approval for a Bachelor of Science in Marine Engineering and Electrotechnology so that they can be qualified as ETO, Electrotech officers on board ship. In order for us to do these subjects, we have an instructor development program We have graduated 3 of our instructors at the W World Maritime University. They took up MED, Maritime Education and Training. The other one took logistics. We also have a student at the National Taiwan Ocean University taking up his master's in marine engineering and mechatronics. And of course, we have local master's degree courses here for all our faculty. On the cadets themselves, we try to inject professionalism, leadership, human relations, cultural diversity awareness, how to be able to work with others, and of course, always having the physical and mental agility to be able to adapt to whatever changes there are in its environment, and of course, environmental consciousness. So that we can continue improving, I have an innovations project office where those officers or cadets who have innovation projects, they can start a project, and if the project is approved, then we will implement it. Like this smart classroom that you can see, all of our classrooms are smart classrooms now. It has monitors. We have a lot of equipment. So what is the opportunity? It's, of course, there's a chance for us to enhance MET so that we can adapt to new developments. And as Anjaney said earlier, there's an opportunity for cooperation and consultation with other universities like Captain Agustí here. Of course, there's a lot of cost. You can see we had to buy drones so that they will learn how to operate remote control. We had to buy 3D printers so that they will know how to use 3D printers, which are now present aboard ship. And finally, what we need are officers who are academically and technically proficient. They have leadership traits, they have environmental awareness, and they have the agility to adapt to the maritime industry 4.0. Stay safe, happy holidays. Thank you, and we're ready to answer questions later on.
Thank you, Vice Admiral Santos. That was a nice introduction to all the work, really the vast work that MAAP is doing in the Philippines and beyond. And I must add that, you know, my visits to MAAP have always impressed me. You know, every time I go, I'm impressed by the amount of activity and the quality of the activity that is going on here. You also take a lot of care for the cadets in terms of their mental health and many other things, especially under the current complex situation with the pandemic. So we'll discuss some of these topics in the discussion forum. I'd like to invite now our next guest, Captain Agustí Mallofré, from the Facultad Náutica de Barcelona, from the University of Barcelona's Faculty of Nautical Studies. He's the Dean of the university's Faculty for Nautical Studies, and he's also the IMO's Goodwill Ambassador representing Spain. So his voice is very influential within maritime circles. And really, it's an honor and a privilege to have him with us today. Captain Agustí Mallofré, again, we met a few times and immediately we connected because I think we agreed that, you know, carrying our file with all our documents, even today in the in the 21st century, is a little bit of a you know, embarrassment for all of us. I'm not even talking about the inconvenience that it causes, right? So immediately we were like, hey, how can we be collaborating together? So Captain Agustí, again, pleasure to have you with us. Over to you. The floor is yours for your opening remarks on this topic. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Many thanks to Navozyme to organizing this conference, this webinar. And good afternoon, Mr. Santos and all attendants. I share. This is the central building of the Barcelona School of Nautical Studies.
Captain Agustí,
this nautical school in Spain.
Sorry, excuse me, Captain Agustí. Maybe you want to make it full screen? Because we can see your screen, but we can't see it full screen at the moment. You can double click on the slide itself and it can open, or yeah, we can see your screen. It's just about making it full screen. Because it will be then, yeah, perfect. That's what you want.
Okay.
Excellent. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Thank you. Thank you very much. This is a central building of the Barcelona School of Nautical Studies in Barcelona. It's the oldest nautical school in Spain and one of the oldest in Europe. It was founded in 1769. Now I am the dean of this school. In Spain, we have 7 different nautical schools. The important change are approaching in the maritime industry, and the maritime training institutions must prepare ourselves to train the seafarers of the future. The ship innovation. Shipping is a global business and is affected by global development and politics. World trade is expanding and transportation companies operate across the entire world. Maritime professionals have for decades contributed with operational maritime experience and knowledge to companies in the maritime sector, and they are still crucial for realizing much of the maritime industry's innovations potential. Maritime professionals can give concrete innovation suggestions to shipping, ship design, and equipment manufacturers, finance and port operations, as well as to researchers who know the challenge presented by specific maritime innovations. The maritime industry is divided into following 4 areas. The first, the shipping. The second, the finance. Third, ports and logistics. 4, technology and manufacturing. The future training of seafarers must incorporate these 4 areas. Now we are seeing the spectacular change in size. 50 years of container ship ground is a special example. The container carrying capacity has increased by around 1,050% since 1968 and has almost doubled over the past decade. Now we are seeing the spectacular change in the size. It's an example in the container ships, in the cruisers. But now we are saying the ship specialization according to cargo. Different ships, carriers, roll-on, roll-off, cellular ships, bulk carriers, tanker ships, chemical ships. Where have we noticed major change in recent times? Especially in navigation equipment and new installations in the engine room and other equipment. For example, in the equipment of the loading and unloading processes. important differences between ships in the loading and unloading processes. Challenge in the immediate future. The energy transition from fossil fuel to renewable technologies require a substantial shift in priorities. The shipping industry's goals for CO2 reduction are set by the International Maritime Organization and will cause major technological developments and raise demand for more effective and efficient ship operations. The sustainability, new combustibles for ships, for example, the nitrogen, the ammonia, etc. Challenge in the immediate future, sustainability. Emissions to the atmosphere, ballast water treatment, and wastewater discharge disposal, the IMO continues to contribute to the fight against climate change in support of sustainable development. Goal 13, take urgent action to combat climate change and its impacts. Challenge of the features, 5G application. The 5G application in the industry in general will allow the use of applications such as mobile robots in production, autonomous vehicles in the transport and logistics sectors, augmented reality applications for service and maintenance technicians, and virtual reality applications for users. But all these applications pose demands that move quickly as today's need works today limits. The progressive automation to achieve autonomous ships. What are the main concerns, solutions, and trends for the shipping and maritime industries according to the experts? Just like everything else, the maritime industry is constantly evolving. There are many factors that speed up the process, such as digital evolution, technological progress, environmental concerns, so forth and so on. It's not easy to predict the next big thing in the industry. However, we can pay attention to the foremost experts of the industry, both individuals and corporations, to take a glance at what to expect from the future. Digitalization. The future of the industry will be digital, no doubt. The digital evolution has been shaping the maritime industry for a while now, and it will certainly continue to do so. Both onshore and offshore shipping companies will have to digitalize their operation as much as possible in order to operate more efficiently, and nautical schools and logistics training centers see the changing future and the need to start incorporating new plans with new subjects. 5G and unmanned vessels. 5G technology will shape the future of the maritime industry as well. It will open up infinite possibilities. The experts say that the nearest benefits of this technology would be the utilization of smart drones for real-time monitoring, ship-shore communication, for vessel traffic management, the use of Internet of Things sensors during search and rescue for real-time communications and accurate positioning, so forth and so on. Maritime 5G will play an important role for the remote control of autonomous ships in the future. This brings us to automation, which also is the future of the industry. Technological progress brings us closer to the date when unmanned vessels will be the norm. Thanks to them, ships will be able to spend much more time at sea than human-controlled ones. Such innovation will enable increased productivity, reduce reliance on human resources, and is less prone to human error. And finally, the environmental concerns. The latest regulations change is a part of a bigger plan. IMO's main strategy is to reduce annual greenhouse gas emissions from ships by at least 50% by 2050, compared with 2008. This means that environmental concerns will continue to shape the industry as well. The new era requires the actors of the industry to upgrade to a greener business while still making a profit. Therefore, it's now important for ship owners and operators to consider and adopt some new strategies, such as installing scrubbers and switching to liquefied natural gas and other low sulfur fuels. The regulations will also force shipbuilders to find solutions for building fast and efficient enough ships with less emissions, 5G, and unmanned vessels. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Captain Agustí, for your opening remarks here. May I request also Vice Admiral Santos now to join the discussion? And yeah, perfect. So excellent. So thank you so much, both Captain Agustí as well as Vice Admiral Santos, for setting the stage for the discussion. We already have some comments, questions coming in, and they have also come in when the people registered. So before I jump into the different questions, etc., maybe because we may run out of time, we've got less than half an hour for this very important topic. So maybe as a personal wish list, okay, you all are leading, really without exaggeration, some of the most influential maritime training grounds, nurturing future leaders. And what I'd like to really know from you personally, maybe Vice Admiral Santos, you can begin first, and then Captain Agustí. What is your wish list on behalf of the maritime industry, on behalf, in your case, MAAP, that you would like to see, incorporated within the organization? So, it's Christmas time and everyone has a gift. So if you were gifted something, miraculously, what is that gift that you would like to have?
Thank you, Anjan, and let me thank Carla for the question. That's truly a sincere question from the youth. I always believe in the youth. They are very adaptive. They always like to learn something. They're very curious. The curiosity of the youth now, especially in the dexterity in using gadgets. My 7-year-old granddaughter can handle my gadget better than me. So I'm sure that the youth is very they have a lot to contribute. What's important is your interest and your love for the industry. Whether it is in sailing, you can see your big contribution to the world is that even in the midst of the pandemic, shipping did not stop. Shipping was able to bring goods from all over the world. Sometimes they even plugged up the port of Los Angeles up to now because all of these are needed. And just imagine if the ships would stop. Where will you get our fuel? Where will we get our clothes? Sometimes even the food that we eat without the ships. And so if the youth can understand that this is a vital industry and their contribution will really lead to the improvement of the world in general, then that will now motivate them to, they can contribute in many aspects, not only in the environment, but even in the simple management of people or leadership of people on a ship. You see, even if it's only 23 crew members, you still have to exercise leadership. You still have to understand and try to see what their feelings are. You have to improve your emotional quotient and be able to apply whatever you learn from all of this to make them effective and productive on your watch. I hope that answered your question.
Yes, thank you, Vice. So I'm taking away a few points here. What you're saying is your wish list it's a call to the youth to appreciate the critical nature of this industry. And that should be an inspiration in itself to join the industry. And the second point here is really at the end, though there's a lot of technology change, and we have seen, you've mentioned, both the speakers have mentioned already, drones, 5Gs, virtual reality, VR, etc. But that's not the point. The point here is the humans drive basically interactions and the maritime industry. So like you mentioned, the human qualities of leadership, your attitude, etc., are going to be even more critical as this transformation takes place. So thanks for those insights. I'll ask the same question to Captain Agustí. It's Christmas time. So what would be your gift that you would like on behalf of maybe the Facultad Náutica de Barcelona, as well as on behalf of the maritime industry in general? Captain Agustí, you can unmute yourself. Actually, you can keep yourself unmuted if you like, because we'll just have a discussion. So.
Okay, thank you very much. At the moment, I believe the companies must advise us to indicate what the skills and competencies they need. There must be maximum contact between the maritime companies, and the advances and improvements that they achieve and apply. For example, in Barcelona, we have a strategic plan that we develop and share with different companies in the maritime sector. We meet several times a year with different groups of companies to receive their recommendations. That is the future of our students.
Right. Okay. So you're basically advocating for more contact with those who are actually operating and taking your talent, from your school in the maritime industry. Okay. So let's jump to perhaps, as leaders of these organizations who are forming, nurturing, incubating the young generation, what as you go through these challenges, of course, when I went to my maritime academy back in the 90s, now I'm giving away my age, I was taught how to use a sextant. I was taught how to look at the stars. I was given paper charts and stuff like that, right? And many of those things today are, people will say they're not used firstly, and some may even argue that, why do you actually need to know that? See, we use our GPS all the time to go from one place to the other, and it's pretty reliable. So why do we need to know how the whole thing works in great detail and know how to build it, etc.? No? So there's plenty of argument here on either side. So my question is really, what challenges do you see as you run the institution, even like in terms of finding the appropriate trainers, right? Because even in Navozyme, so we are a maritime technology company. We focus on digital technologies, blockchain, artificial intelligence. Now, the people I need in my organization need to have 4 types of skill sets, one of the 4 at least. They need to know about maritime. They need to know about technology. They need to know about digital transformation, so how to manage change. And then finally, they also need to know about building a venture. How do you actually build and run a business? So these 4, finding a combination of all those 4 is impossible. So we look for one spike and then we train them on the others, right? But if we could get someone or some people who already have a complement of these skills, they would of course be the first people to be selected, And I'm representing, again, it's not just Navozyme. I think this is true of those technology companies who are trying to work in the maritime industry, right? So if we go to the engineering, computer engineering colleges, that's great, but they don't understand anything about maritime. And if we go to the maritime, then the other issue comes, right? So I'm sure you're already recognizing these challenges, not so much only for professionals on board ships, but also for all the support industry players ashore who are also supporting the operation of ships. So the question is really on challenges that you see and your thoughts on, what needs to be done at maybe at an industry level. That would be a good start to get your perspective on that. So again, anyone could go here, Captain Agustí or Vice Admiral Santos, anyone, whoever feels wants to go first can go there. Captain Agustí, you can keep your microphone unmuted so that you can respond also straight away, if you would like. So do you want to go first, Captain Agustí, this time, on the challenges that you see why, in training and running an institution for the future?
Yes. In recent years, we have given great importance to the management of the ship and especially to the introduction of simulators in all possible subjects. This is very important. The simulators are the best tool available today, since they reproduce the almost real situations of navigation, engine room, communications, loading and unloading, high voltage. We have also incorporated the concept of the sustainability across the board in most subjects. We're currently in an important revision of our curriculum. But today we have different challenges. The challenges are simple to understand, but difficult to put into practice. From my point of view, ships should get bigger. They can become unruly. Another almost impossible challenge is getting all vessels to meet a standard. In some seas for the world, there are still ships sailing in a very precarious state, far from the MAAP standards. We have a long work our work.
Right. Thanks for those comments. Maybe Vice Admiral Santos, let me get your views on the challenges as well.
Yes, thank you. The challenges indeed are, to me, still attitudinal and getting the interest and developing a culture of safety and developing a culture of thirst for learning. The youth now are easily distracted. I think everybody knows that. It's very difficult to now while we're doing distance learning. We really have to put the students in a classroom. They're all vaccinated. They're all authorized to be, but they have physical distancing. But even inside the classroom, while the instructor is conducting a symmetrical distance lecture, once you lose the interest, they start opening up their iPads, their tablets, and their laptops, and pretend to do something. So it's important to us to keep on maintaining the interest. That's at the school level. Secondly, I don't have too much of a problem for shipboard training, because I think you know that all of our cadets are sponsored by shipping companies, and they actually have ships to go to. But the thing is, again, without the passion and without the interest of the cadets to really go to sea, it's developing the love for the sea. Even if we have so many islands in the Philippines, the sea to them is recreation. Is for recreation. It's not for working. So that is a big challenge for us. Of course, now that we're doing distance learning, then we must have higher connectivity in the internet. And we have to make sure that our systems are safe and secure from cyber threats, from hacking, and all of that. So we're trying to solve all of these problems together. These are very practical problems that we have to deal with on a day-to-day basis. Because the larger problem of putting them on onboard training is already taken away from us. However, the day-to-day operations is the one that's taking a toll on us now. In terms of cost, indeed, all of our equipment are very costly. We have to maintain them. We have to have enough funds in order to update them and acquire other equipment that are needed as the time goes on. We're already using cloud-based simulation, but then there are other things that are coming up again. So again, it's a constant need for financial support in order to keep it going. So and I'm only focused on maritime. I'm not even on seagoing. I'm not even talking about the other industries like the ports, like other maritime industry, shipbuilding, ship repair, and they have their own peculiar problems as well. That's the reason why, as I said, we would rather focus on the day-to-day problems. Make sure that the cadets make it for their onboard training. Make sure that they succeed in their onboard training. Keep up their interest and succeed in what they're doing, so that the ship owners or the sponsors will be happy with their scholars. So essentially, it's really a nuts and bolts thing for us to do at this time. But we always have to keep on looking at the horizon on what is coming up in the future. Thank you.
Thank you, Vice Admiral Santos. Clearly, you have plenty of challenges in front of you, and the pandemic has not eased your life at all. So here, now you mentioned something here which is very interesting, and also Captain Agustí has already touched upon this as well. So the next generation, to inspire them, requires also, the trends in the world is also around sustainability. There's a question that's come in also around this topic of sustainability, taking care of the environment, the governance, etc., ESG as it's called, environment, sustainability, and governance. So this is becoming very important in the world, not just in our industry. But I'd like to understand also, maybe Captain Agustí, since you also mentioned sustainability in your earlier intervention, maybe you want to talk about, what the maritime industry or your school is doing on this topic, where the next generation can also come in and perhaps be inspired. So, Captain Agustí, do you want to respond to this first?
Okay. It's very important to prepare a new curriculum from the different grades and masters in the university. But in recent years, we have seen many important changes, and changes are important for the revision of the curriculum. Not all are positive. For example, the improvement of shore facilities, the speed of shore operations, the high-level knowledge of computer systems, for example, very specialized software, the super specialization of the ships, the need for very fast decision making, automation of loading and offloading operation. These topics are very important for the new studies plans. It's very important for you to be in direct contact with the organizations. For example, the IAMU, the IMO, the IAMU, the FESMA, Confederation of European Shipmasters Associations, in Spain, ANAVE, the Spanish Shipping Association. It is the way we are always receiving updated information from the maritime sector and possibility the new change in the curriculum. The sustainability is very important, and we have a special plan for introduce the sustainability in all masters, in all the grades. The transversal competency, the sustainability is very important. And we need many resources for this goal, no? Is a problem at the moment, but is necessary more simulators, is necessary more, for example, the experience, canal experience, hydrostatic canal experience for the naval architects, etc.
Okay. So basically what I'm seeing here is, you're mentioning that the curriculum needs to be constantly updated, and that's not an easy task. Even these themes of sustainability, etc., need to be incorporated, and there are various forums for it. And again, I understand also, the University of Barcelona is the guiding authority under which the Faculty of Nautical Sciences is. So in that sense, you have some layers of administration to overcome before you can change the course, which perhaps is not the case for MAAP. No, you have a little bit more flexibility here to adapt to the changes that are required. But maybe any comments on this, Vice Admiral Santos, on anything you're doing on sustainability or
yes.
curriculum?
If you in terms of sustainability, we're actually following the United Nations Sustainable Development Goals. Always it is we're always following the goal number 5, which is quality education. So that has been a guiding light for all of us. Now, because of the pandemic, we're now also looking at Sustainable Development Goal number 3 or 4, 3 I think, which is wellness, maintaining good health and wellness. At MAAP, we are a COVID-free bubble. Classes go on, but we are in a bubble, and we make sure that the bubble is maintained in order for us to be able to continue operating. So we have not stopped operations since the pandemic started. Gender equality is another goal that we try to achieve here at MAAP. I mean, we have women cadets. Unfortunately, some shipping companies still don't get women, so I cannot have an equal number at this time. I only get women cadets that are requested by the companies. But the women do the same things that their male counterparts do as well. So this, and of course, we continue cooperating with the government and with the agencies, not only here but also abroad, and with other schools through IAMU, just like Barcelona. We are together with Captain Agustí there. So because it's an opportunity for us to get best practices that we can implement. We do have almost the same problem, the same challenges, and perhaps through cooperation and through collaboration with other schools, we are able to get the best practices to be able to overcome some of the challenges.
Perfect. So here I'm seeing a theme emerging, that one is, collaboration is very important, and collaboration, Captain Agustí mentioned, with the industry, constant contact with the people who are actually taking and recruiting. You have also mentioned, Vice Admiral Santos, in your earlier opening remarks about training of your trainers, having their capacity being built by going to WMU or other places in the world. So again, there's an element of collaboration that is required here to understand and bring in those things within the maritime industry. That's one theme that has emerged very clearly. The second theme here is, and you made this point very strongly, which I clearly support, is that at the end, technology and transformation is going to happen. However, the human part is like the anchor, right? So though the ship can swirl around, there can be new technologies that keep coming. The anchor has to be very steady, and it's only possible if the human dimension is taken care of.
Yeah.
Right? So that is where you're saying. The third theme here is this industry is very critical. It's the lifeline of the world economy. Christmas time is actually a very good, time to recognize the importance of the industry. The gifts that we give around would not be possible to acquire from the stores if the ships did not bring them, right? So I think sometimes we can't see that because it's so distant. And there are lots of people working right now very hard, not being able to even go back home because of the restrictions. So we should acknowledge them as well. And as seafarers, I think Captain Agustí and Vice Admiral Santos, I think we appreciate this very much. Now, we are almost out of time. This is what happens in these webinars. You just swift past and before you know, the hour is over. But I do want to conclude by giving both of you an opportunity to give your advice to the younger generation or those considering a career in the maritime industry, right? Any advice based on your experiences, any tips that you would like to give to the next generation? So here, maybe Captain Agustí, you can go first. So now we'll start from the west to the east before we close to balance things out. So Captain Agustí, what advice would you give to the young generation who to consider the maritime industry?
Okay, thank you very much, Anjan. I believe the students are a good feature, along with enthusiasm, goodwill, and perseverance. There are 3 keys to getting very high. In a young person's career, their ability, their social skills, and their willpower. This is my...
Fantastic. So you're going to the roots of what makes human character, no? And to put it in a word that's in fashion nowadays, I think resilience. So if you want to be in this industry, you need resilience, because especially under the current times. But you can also switch it around and say, if you join this industry, you will gain resilience, which means irrespective of what you do later, you will have that strength of character to withstand any kinds of problems or changes or transformation that happen in life. And that's the only constant here, right? The change. Thank you so much, Captain Agustí, for those very strong words of wisdom. Vice Admiral Santos, what would you like to say?
Conclusion. Yes, to the youth, as I said, I always believe in the power and that the future belongs to the youth. However, let me preface that by saying that nothing in this world is free. So if you want to get to the top, you have to work hard. You have to sacrifice. If you are going to sea, then you must sacrifice being away from your family, even during holidays or important occasions. In exchange, you develop strength of character because your exposure to the elements, your exposure to being out at sea, away from your family, cooped with a group of diverse cultures inside the ship with different attitudes and different characteristics, and then forcing yourself to be able to live with them and to adapt and to be able to gain their obedience and their sympathies or their good company, their good friendship, then that is a challenge. And if you think that you're just going to stay at being spoon-fed or getting everything in a silver spoon, then unless you are born with a millionaire father, then it will really take a long time for you. You might not even develop to be a person of character. But the more you suffer, the more you sacrifice, the more you're able to overcome these physical or mental or emotional problems, the stronger you will be in the long run. And that is actually the best reward that you will get out of having a life at sea. So I know that there are many challenges for the youth, and of course even for the young seafarers. They're saying that there's so many requirements. I have to queue up before I can upload my data. I have to wait till midnight to be able to upload it. That's really part of the challenges that you have to bear. But then you will notice that once you are able to overcome this, it gives you a sense of satisfaction, a sense of accomplishment, a sense of pride that you have done your best. And once this attitude of overcoming problems, vicissitudes in life, and then praising yourself successfully, praising yourself for doing such a good job, you'll turn out to be a better person and actually be successful in whatever career you choose. Thank you.
Fantastic. Thank you, Vice Admiral Santos. What you've just said is like, we are all diamonds, but under this currently uncut, so like carbon, but unless we are rubbed and scratched and we show our resilience, the diamond doesn't shine. So this industry allows you to get that cutting very fast compared to any other traditional industry, right? So a lot of inspiration here from really the giants of the industry, Vice Admiral Santos and Captain Agustí. Again, thank you so much for participating in this conversation. This is part of a series of conversations that we have really as a way to raise awareness and to bring voices to a larger group, to make them aware of what's the reality in the maritime industry, to talk about new trends and issues. So as we go along, again, we will invite you again sometimes to participate on these topics, of course, always respecting your time. So thank you so much. And with that, I'll conclude this webinar. There are some questions that we did not get to answer, but we will share those questions with the panelists in case they want to respond with the participants as well. And now I'll hand it back to Elisenda to conclude the session. Thank you again, Captain Agustí, as well as Vice Admiral Santos. Take care and a Merry Christmas to everyone as well.
Well, so thank you very much. Yes, thank you very much to the audience also for connecting with us today. We hope that you enjoyed this session. This is the last event of the year. So from Navozyme, we want to wish you a happy holidays and the very best for the new year. We'll come back next year with more interesting webinars. And until then, we'll keep in touch with you via our newsletter and our social media. So don't forget to follow us so you are updated of everything that we do. So we hope to see you again next year, and thank you very much for being here. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, everyone. Bye-bye.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Bye-bye, Captain Agustí. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye. Thank you.